Whether you live northeast, west, or south, the best fast pitch info comes from the coach's mouth. Welcome to the From the Coach's Mouth podcast with your hosts, Jay Bolden and Ken Kraus.
Welcome, everybody, to From the Coach's Mouth podcast. I am here with Ken Kraus, and we have a absolutely fantastic guest for you guys today, coaching at the collegiate level, Division I. We're excited to have her on, and this is going to be an absolutely fantastic podcast today.
Our guest today is a native of DeKalb, Illinois, home to my alma mater, Northern Illinois University. Go Huskies! But she didn't go there. After graduating from DeKalb High School in 2015, I guess she wanted to get out of town, and she went on to play for 5 years at Northwestern University, where she was both a pitcher and a field player, as well as a teammate of one of my former players, Emma Bartz. In 2021, she led the Wildcats with 10 home runs while also maintaining a 2.44 ERA in the circle. After graduating, she stayed in Evanston as a graduate assistant for 2 years before being hired in 2022 as an assistant coach at Northern Kentucky University, primarily working with pitchers. She made an immediate impact, helping the Norse to the school's two most successful seasons since becoming a Division I program, including winning NKU's first Horizon League championship and making its first NCAA regional appearance in 2023. In August of 2024, she was elevated to the position of head coach. She's now preparing for her first season in the big chair and brings a lot of enthusiasm and energy to the position. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Morgan Gerak.
Hi, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk all things softball in the game today.
We're so blessed to have you, Morgan. We are so excited to dig into a little bit of your softball history and career. And so I'm going to get us started right away with some questions. So you ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. So I want to start with, where did the softball, your journey, maybe give us a little bit of background about where your journey began. I'm talking even pre-high school, if you want. Give us a little idea of what that was like for you and kind of how it just kept escalating for you.
Yeah, so my mom played college softball, and my dad actually played a lot of really competitive men's fast pitch. So softball was the first sport that they put me in right away, right into t-ball, into coach pitch. I got to play a lot of other sports growing up too, volleyball, basketball, cross country, but softball was really the one that was in my blood. And so it kind of stuck. And I started playing when I was as soon as I could hold a ball. I remember my dad giving me my first little 11-inch ball. We play fetch in the backyard. And I actually played for the Wasco Diamonds from 10U to 18U. So I played with the Diamonds for 7 years, and I feel like that's kind of unheard of now. There was 5 of us that were together from 10U to 18U, and there's still some of my closest friends. One of them was in my wedding, and just feel really blessed for the opportunity to be so close with those travel ball teammates for so long and just really grow up together.
Awesome. So do you have any fond memories that just kind of stick with you over time, even from your high school days, competing at DeKalb High School, or anything from when you were playing travel ball that's just kind of just stuck with you throughout the years that you're just that's just that moment for me?
I have so many memories of travel ball, so many different tournaments, and just rain delays with my teammates and really big wins and really tough moments. But something that I still is one of my most favorite softball memories is in my senior year of high school in 2016, DeKalb's 4A. When I was there, we were one of the smaller 4A schools. And 4A in Illinois it's really good softball, top to bottom. Good. And we actually made a run and made it to state, which was so cool. I think we had 6 or 7 travel ball players on our team. So you can imagine DeKalb High School, going down to state, and it was just that team, we had a really special bond. We loved to play together. And those people and those teammates, I still think about the memories that we made and the run that we had. And kind of like Northern Kentucky, it was the first time in school history that we had gone to state. And so that's some of like my most favorite special softball memories. Like travel ball, high school, and college, and now coaching combined. That's probably in my top 5 or top 3.
Awesome.
How was the transition from high school ball then to college softball? Was it easy? Was it difficult? What kind of caught you off guard?
Oh man, I was challenged right away. I definitely think I was prepared for my travel ball team. I'm really grateful for the way the Diamonds prepared me. And I get this question a lot as a coach, right? Like, well, what's the biggest adjustment for kids going from college or from travel ball to college? And it's the answer to me is the same for me and for the players that I see is the game just moves so much faster. And even more specifically, what I mean by that, because I think that's kind of a broad statement that a lot of coaches give, but like practice moves way quicker, right? I think that you have to take bigger, more powerful steps to get where you're going, or you're going to get left behind, right? I think you can just get away with these little baby steps in travel ball. But that's what I felt like I had to grow the most in is I thought that I had a good arm. I thought that I had a lot of range in the outfield. I thought I had, really great spin on my pitches. And there's just so many things that I really had to take from good to great to have a chance to compete at the college level. But thankfully, I just had really great teachers who helped me get there.
So let's dig into, if you don't mind, since you talked about the speed of the game. What was your recruiting experience like? I know, like, I deal with a lot of kids who are going through the process, and some experiences are wonderful, other experiences are drawn out, some aren't what they think it is. What was your experience like, and any advice you could give to some of the future kids that are going through the recruiting process?
Totally. Yeah. My journey was unique in that I was actually committed to a different school before Northwestern. There was a coaching change, and the new coach just didn't think that I was going to be a good fit for the program. And that was really hard. It was back in the days where it was before September 1st. So I'd been committed for a really long time. But man, I fully believe everything happens for a reason. And I actually ended up committing to Northwestern about a month before signing day. So it was really late. But I share this advice quite a bit. And that's just, man, like, run your own race. I think that with Twitter, recruiting on Twitter, and that wasn't what my experience was like. But now as a coach, it is. Recruiting on Twitter and all the camps and just this need to kind of publish yourself and create a platform for yourself. I think, man, kids that are growing up, I just feel like comparison is really stealing their joy. And I tell my kids that all the time. I say, don't let comparison steal your joy. It's one of the easiest ways to create stress and just to lose the love that you have. And everybody's process looks different, and I think that's what makes it special. And I really challenge recruits that I talk to view it that way, because I don't think there's really another way to do it without feeling the stress of it all. Because they are kids, and I think that's important to remember. They're kids, and I hope that they all can. Any kid getting recruited, regardless even of sport, can really just find value in the process of it, which is really hard, but it's also a great learning lesson for kids their age.
So when that happened to you, Morgan, and you were committed verbally committed to the previous school, I'm sure there were other schools outside of Northwestern that were also interested in you. So what made you choose Northwestern? What was it that drew you there?
So I would say this answer is twofold for me. The first thing is Northwestern's actually my family school. My grandparents met at Northwestern. My grandpa actually lived in the same dorm that I lived in my freshman year at Northwestern. And I grew up going to Northwestern football games. Like my grandparents had season tickets because my aunt was a cheerleader in the 90s, and they just kept them. And just so many growing up memories of Northwestern. I loved the proximity to my home in DeKalb, and my parents were just able to have really easy access to all the Big Ten schools back in the day when the Big Ten looked a little different, right? And that was the first part. But the second thing is when I came to campus, I I really felt like Kate and Carol got to know me well. And the thing that was so different from other places is that they didn't roll the red carpet out for me. They were like, this is what it's like. This is what you're going to experience. It's going to be really hard, but it's going to be really rewarding. And that really stuck out to me. Just their honesty and transparency in it all. And what you see is what you get in the best way. And it really felt like home because of that right away.
As a player, you were both a pitcher and a hitter. You were a field player and all that when you weren't pitching. What was that experience like? Was that double the workload?
Oh my gosh, it was the best. Getting to play the outfield and pitch was one of the coolest parts of my college experience. I love being a pitcher. I love being able to impact every single play and touch the ball every play. But there's something really fun about chasing the ball down in the outfield that I'm just so glad I got to be a part of. I just got to feel like an athlete in a different way, and just see the game in a different way, which was so fun. And I mean, you guys know I played with Danielle Williams, and she made it really easy to play behind, which was just a lot of fun. And so I really, as an upperclassman, where I had more of like a role player as a pitcher, coming into close, facing some lefties, or, we have a big lead and just taking some pitches off Danielle's arm. I really loved that role because I felt like it was just like a really niche way to impact our team, and just a different way to be around the game. And I just felt like being in right field just kept me so engaged. And I loved it. I loved getting to play the outfield.
Did that double your workload though? How did you manage to balance what you had to do as a field player and still stay sharp as a pitcher?
Totally. It's, you learn how to balance. I think you spend too much time on one thing, you spend too much time on the other thing, and it hurts you. But it's a learning experience in that. I spent a lot of time on my own outside of practice hitting, and bullpens were always outside of practice too. So that really allowed me to feel confident in doing both. And the other thing too is that I felt like just being around the practice and being around the game, I'm really big on just being observant and paying attention. I think there's so much you can learn even when you're not the one doing a rep. So if I'm in right field at practice that day, I'm paying attention to what the pitchers are doing at practice. And I might not be getting those reps, but I'm seeing them take them. I'm hearing what we're being told to do, or vice versa in the outfield. And so I really value that skill. And I think it's helped me as a coach to learn new ways to teach things.
I was just wondering about that. Were you already starting to develop your coaching chops? You'd be watching your teammates doing something and be like, try to get over here a little bit more this way, or approach it like that.
I guess I'll dive into this. It's not a super long story, but it's actually kind of an interesting one. So I have a biology degree. I have a biology degree. I thought I wanted to go to med school. I took the MCAT. I had all the prereq classes. And COVID was a really interesting time for me in a lot of ways, because I felt like I had so much time to reflect on what I was really passionate about, and just how much I honestly loved college athletics, and I didn't want to leave college athletics. And from there, decided to pursue my master's in sports administration, which is kind of what led me down the path of coaching. But I always loved teaching. I think I just have always really enjoyed getting to show others and teach others. And even when I wanted to go to medical school, that was a part of me. I just think I didn't realize it. And so I think those seeds were being planted early on, even if I didn't consciously know it.
That's awesome. I want to just ask you a question now as head coach. How do you feel about pitchers being able to also play the field and hit? Is that something that, hey, that's great? Or, because, a lot of the pitchers get pigeonholed into, well, you're a PO, and, you having that experience doing both, like you said, there's a lot that you can get from doing both of those things at the college level. How do you feel about that as a head coach?
Man, I think pitchers who can hit and field and pitch are awesome. I love it. I think it adds so much flexibility to your team. Our second baseman who just graduated last year, she was a pitcher. And we didn't use her for a whole lot of innings because thankfully we had a really deep pitching staff and didn't need it. But I always knew if we were in a pinch, she could throw strikes, right? And I think just that that adds so much value, right? Or even if your pitcher can hit, right? Then, you have an incredibly talented shortstop who you need on the field, but isn't one of your best 9 hitters, right? Then all of a sudden, you have a lot of flexibility in your lineup, which is really awesome. The thing I also say on the other side of that is if you are a pitcher who that's not your strength, playing another position or hitting, like own being a PO too. I think both are great and both add value to your team.
Absolutely. So if we can, I want to just fast forward a little bit here. So you talked about your grad assistant and you went for your graduate degree and you got to be a grad assistant at Northwestern. Give us a little bit of a background on like what that was, the graduate assistant. Like what was your role? What things were you in charge of? What did you enjoy? What was hard work? If you could let us know about that, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. So I was thankful I got a 5th year because of COVID. So I started my master's in that year and then finished it the year that I was the GA in 2022. And the fall of 2022 was when Michelle was pregnant and on maternity leave. And so I got to, Michelle's the pitching coach at Northwestern. And so I really got to be fully in the bullpen all the time. And yeah, that meant catching a lot of bullpens, right? But there's also a lot you can see when you catch. I even caught live, which is something that I'm still so proud of to this day, catching live. But I learned so much. I learned so much about my coaching voice right away because of that. And the thing is I say this about Kate and Carol and Michelle, and I also say this about Catherine, is that they're all really incredible at giving young coaches opportunities to lead. And so I was really able to learn my voice being in the outfield with the team, being in the bullpen, right? And just got so many responsibilities from that. I think there's also such an advantage to staying at your program to be a GA because you already know the system.
Yeah.
So there just wasn't a learning curve in that sense. And so I was really kind of able to dive in and help our team get better in a lot of ways. I threw a lot of BP, a lot of BP. I really tried to think about like my goal as a BP pitcher was to make our team better at hitting changeups because I threw a lot of changeups. And so I just threw a lot of fastballs and changeups and BP and like, how can I make our team better at hitting the changeup? So I really tried to focus in on like, what can I do today to make an impact? And that mentality, I feel like really helped serve me well when I was helping set up the equipment, right? Or throwing, 3 carts of BP in a day, right? And so it's challenging work, yeah, but it's so rewarding. And I really loved that year of coaching. And, going to the World Series to finish off the season isn't a bad way to end it, right?
Not at all. Not at all. I'm sure that was an amazing experience. One quick thing I did want to also kind of ask you about was Michelle, right? Can you give us some information of things that Michelle taught you when you were a pitcher in the bullpen? And I'll relate this as to why in a second for what it means for Ken and I.
Yeah, for sure. So, gosh, Michelle made such an impact on me. I feel like I related to her in so many ways, not throwing really hard and really having to work on spinning the ball. And I just think she's such an elite coach at understanding who you are as a pitcher and making you the best version of you. And I've really taken that and ran with it as my own style. Our pitching staff looks totally different, all 3 of them. And I love that about them. I don't have a style. I want it to be what's going to make our pitcher the best version of herself. And I think Michelle does such an incredible job of that. While also figuring out how to expand your game and make you better, right? When I came to college, I didn't have a good drop ball. Like I never stuck the way I learned. And Michelle spent all fall teaching me how to throw a sharper drop ball. And that's the pitch that kept the ball in the ballpark for me all 5 years of playing. And so she really sees you and wants to get to know you and like loves the personality of the bullpen. And she's just a really special coach.
Yeah, she's awesome. Well, the reason I was asking you that, Morgan, is her pitching coach is one of Ken and ours good friend and also semi-mentor, which is Rich Balswick. So we really love Rich, and that guy's just so full of knowledge about pitching and seeing Michelle, do great work up at Northwestern just really makes us proud too, because Rich has taught Ken and I a ton about pitching and spin and that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to bring that in together. It's just she's phenomenal, and knowing her pitching coach and getting information and being mentored by him has been something that's been really, really important to me. And I'm sure Ken would say the same.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right. So I'm wondering now, we're going to fast forward a little bit talking about, making the transition from player to coach, especially when, you became a graduate assistant. So last year you were a peer to some of the players, right? You were a teammate. Now all of a sudden you're a coach. How did you handle that? And was it difficult?
So that was probably the most challenging part of being the grad assistant, really, was coaching players who were my friends. And thankfully, I had such great teammates who understood and respected that boundary that needed to be created. And I also felt like it gave me this window of opportunity to already have a vulnerability with them, where if I saw a way that I thought they could get better, they're really open to listening to it, right? And so, yeah, it was really challenging, but it was also really special. And, the hugs we gave each other when we were at Arizona State after we won the Super Regional were just as special as if I were a player or coach. And so I'm really grateful for that opportunity looking back. I think I learned a lot from it. And it really served me well through the challenge of it.
Did you get some training as far as being a coach, or were you just kind of told, okay, here's your clipboard, here's your whistle, and good luck with that?
So I actually got to coach with the Wasco Diamonds every summer in between my years in college. My dad and I coached a Wasco Diamonds travel team together, and those kids are really special. It was a really good group of kids, and I feel like, they were so eager to learn, and they loved each other so well. And I just had such an incredible experience with my dad, and I think coaching with him really gave me the space to learn my coaching voice and kind of fail forward in it. He was just such my safety net, and I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? Or did I say this the right way? Or how should I approach this? And having him in my back pocket was really special. And some of the coolest memories that him and I have together, we're coaching that group of kids together. And I love those kids. I'm still really close with them and their families. But that experience, those 4 or 5 years I got to do that, really helped me learn my voice, so I felt prepared when I became the GA.
Nice. So let's fast forward a little bit here. After that, after Northwestern, you then become the pitching coach at Northern Kentucky University. And you went through those two, you were there for 2 years. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So give us a little background on the first year, and then give us a little bit of information about the second year with the accomplishments that went on down there.
Yeah, sure. So I think that the cool story first is how I met Catherine, actually. So every site that hosts the part of the NCAA tournament, or regional or super regional, has a site rep from the NCAA. And our site rep at Arizona State was Catherine. And so a lot of my responsibilities as a grad assistant were, going and getting the bats tested and other things like that she was always around. So I got to know her really well that week. And I knew she was a Big Ten alum. I knew she was a Chicago native, and kind of got to know her in that way. And after, I texted her and I said, hey, it was really nice to meet you. I'm looking for a job this summer. So if you hear of anything, let me know. Just knowing she had a lot of connections, and just that she was, I trusted the people in her circle, right? And she was like, well, actually, I'm looking for a pitching coach. And kind of the rest is history, if you will. But she was such a great mentor to me. She still is an incredible mentor to me. She from day one, she trusted me so much and just delegated so much to me, which helped me feel so prepared for this opportunity now as the head coach. But those 2 years had a really special bullpen. Some really talented pitchers who, I'll say this, from the very first day, were just so eager and excited to learn. And each one of them just really from day one were so bought in on how I thought they could grow. And they had all the tools. It was just about using those tools to really succeed. And that 2023 season, it didn't start out very well. we weren't hitting very well. We had a lot of injuries. We had a spring break trip that was just, I don't know if I've ever faced more adversity with a team from an injury standpoint, from like a bus ride standpoint, from hotels. It just, nothing seemed to go right. And I just kept encouraging our staff, our pitching staff and our team as a whole, like, if we got through this, like, we are going to be better on the other side, right? Like, this doesn't define your season, right? And they really took that to heart. They grew as the season went on. They figured out scrappy ways to win together. They love spending time together. They just love being together. We got to Green Bay in early May and just made a run, a really special run. And the things that our pitching staff did to succeed that week were special. Were really, really special. We used 3 pitchers in the if game of the championship to win, which I think is really cool and pretty unheard of. And
that's pretty awesome.
I'll never forget the way, Alicia Flores spun that curveball through the zone for strike 3 and then took her glove and slammed it on the ground to celebrate that championship. It just was such a culmination of the work that they've done, and an incredible catcher in Maddie Lacer, who's now on our coaching staff, which is really awesome. So that was a really special year. And the thing is we didn't have a ton of seniors that year. And so with the seniors we had, it was really special for them to get to hoist that trophy up, but really had a returning team in 2024 and a lot of expectation and pressure, which I don't think they had ever experienced before. And so I felt like a lot of it was teaching them how to handle that pressure. And in the same vein, while we won, I think every junior that became a senior who was an impact player felt like there was an area of their game where they could really grow. And so I kept encouraging them, I want you to focus on that area in the game that you can grow rather than the pressure of repeating or the fact that people are really hunting us down this year, right? Mm-hmm. And again, as every season is, as this season upcoming is going to be ups and downs. And, what are you going to do? How are you going to get better as the season goes on? And that team, actually, we lost the first game of the Horizon League tournament. And they fought back, and we beat every single team in the Horizon League tournament, all 5 other teams. So we're in the if game against Cleveland State and just wasn't able to finish it, right? And so just a really heartbreaking way for those seniors to end. But they left that dugout at Youngstown. They didn't want to leave. They wanted to stay in the dugout because they didn't like the finality of it. But they left that dugout so proud of the legacy that they left and the work that they accomplished, right? And the freshmen left that dugout without a ring, right? The sophomores, juniors, and seniors last year had a ring. And that class they're athletic, they're talented, they're hungry. And, leaving Youngstown without a ring last year really impacted them. And so it's been really special to watch the work that they've done this fall. Because now, as sophomores, I really see a lot of them stepping into those leadership and impact roles. And I'm really excited for it. Thanks for, I had to cover 2 years in one question. So
you did a great job. Let me tell you, that was awesome. And props to those young ladies too, for, it didn't end the way they wanted it to, but they have some great memories that they're going to take with them for a lifetime. So
yeah, absolutely.
And it only drives the rest of them to be more hungry for what they want. So it was again, exactly. 2 years have been great. Real quick, if I can, now you're the head coach. How does your pitching brain help you a little bit on the head coaching side of things?
Well, I'll tell you what. The first thing is I could not do it without our 2 assistants, right? Lexi Blair is a Michigan alum, and she is just fiery and passionate and detail-oriented and just so good at working with our offense and our outfield, where I feel like I can really just give her the reins so that I can really use my pitching mind, right? And then on the flip side of that too, it's not just me. I have Maddie Lacer, who caught every pitch of the last 2 years. And so she understands me, she understands our system, and she really understands the pitching staff. And so, those 2, I couldn't do it without them. But it's actually interesting because as a pitching coach who's an assistant, I feel like you can really stay in your lane of pitching. And it's really easy to be so locked in on your pitching staff. And something that I've had to kind of adjust as the head coach, where I really am thinking about the bigger picture, is I have to be able to narrow my focus to really be in the bullpen. And so it's something that I felt like I did an okay job of in the fall, and something that I want to be, I made some adjustments in my own mindset and the ways that I approach the bullpen. So that way I can be really focused on what our pitching staff needs, every pitcher individually. And again, Lacer helps so much with that, right? She's at every bullpen. She's going to help call the game this year. And so just the trust I'm able to have in them has really helped me be a better pitching coach, head coach, for sure.
It's fantastic. It's always interesting to hear when you look at it and say, I know that when I was a team coach, one of the first things I really came to feel was I'm really good with the mechanical part of it, understanding how to teach that part of the game. But I always felt like, there was some deficiency in the strategic side. So I really went out and tried to find some education and say, rather than just going, I guess I'm just not good at it, try to get better. Are there things like that you feel where, boy, I sure, what my focus is going to be in education or, going on, I really want to get better at this or that. And you don't have to share anything that you don't want your opponents to know, but I'm just kind of curious about that.
Yeah, for sure. That makes a lot of sense. And I think why it's so important to have, a secondary pitching coach, for lack of a better phrase, right? Someone to help me, allows me to spend more mental energy on the strategic part for our team, right? And so that's really why I've given Lacer so much rope, because one, she can handle it and she's really smart and she's going to keep learning. But two, because it makes us better, it makes me better, right? I think the thing that I've really grown in as a coach is I actually work with our infielders at NKU, and it's something I'm really, really passionate about, is great infield defense, right? Shocker, coming from a drop ball pitcher, right? But, I just love infield defense. I think there's such a discipline to it. And, talking about like paying attention and learning, I felt like it was something I didn't know a lot about. And so in college, I just listened to everything Carol would say in the infield, and I would just take it in and I would practice it myself. And then I would take it to my team, my travel ball team, and practice with them. So just got into this spot where I've never played shortstop. I'm a left-handed pitcher and outfielder. I've never played a day of shortstop in my life, but I feel like I have that skill set because like I said, I spent a lot of time just observing and listening. And our team needs that, right? Like Lexi coaches in the outfield and Lacer works with our catchers and our pitchers. We need someone in the infield, and that's something I've worked really hard on and just become really passionate about. So that's a little something that I really enjoy, is the infield defense.
This is your first season as head coach. What are you looking forward to the most this season?
That's a great question. We talked about as staff what our goals should be and, what we want for the team. And this is what I've enjoyed so much and what I've looked forward to so much in the preseason. But we really are focusing on the process of getting better, right? So I think what I'm looking forward to the most is watching who they are in February be so different than who they are in May. And we've talked a lot as a staff to the team, like February 7th is just the starting line. It's the very beginning. And how can we continue to get a little better, get to know each other a little better, get to know our swing better, how can we understand how to win as a team better? And those are things that I'm really excited to watch this group grow, because they have a real desire to get better. Like they have a real desire to grow and learn and adapt. And so I'm really excited to watch them get to do that this year. I'm really excited for that.
Going off of that, getting to know each other, that requires a very good culture. So what kind of culture things are you doing at Northern Kentucky with maybe with your staff or even with the team? What are some culture things that you guys are doing there at Northern Kentucky?
So, I'm really grateful. I feel like this isn't the same experience with every new head coach, but I inherited a culture that was just so strong and so grounded. Catherine did such a great job in getting to be a part of that for 2 years. I really felt like I got to learn it and like understand the way that our team really thrived. And what I saw, and that I experienced this at Northwestern too, and I really identified it at NKU, is that every kid just has the ability to be themselves. And I always tell kids, I said, like, your most authentic self is your best self. And because all of our kids just have, they're given this ability to be authentic, it's really special, right? And then that's when they would rather be together than apart, and they can have fun. whether it's 6 a.m. in the weight room or, 10 p.m. on a bus ride home, right? And so I think that's something that's just really special and something that I have been adamant about continuing to foster, because that's when it gets really special. That's when the room gets really vulnerable and you're really afraid. You're really not afraid to lean in and go for it, right? And so that's the direction that we want to continue going. And we're really, I'm adamant that I'm not going to settle for anything less than that. And I have a really high standard when it comes to the way that we treat each other, right, and the way that we treat the game.
Do you have any favorite activities that you do that to kind of foster that? Games or like I know there was the M&M thing where you pass out a bowl of M&Ms and tell kids take as many as you want. Some will grab a big handful, some will just grab a few, and then you hit them with, okay, for every M&M you took, you got to tell something about yourself. So anything along those lines?
I like that. I've never heard that, but I feel like I should use that. I think kids at the college level, they spend so much time together naturally, right? And so I think strong relationships take time and we try to give them time to do that. But in the same vein, Kate had an expression in college and when I was at Northwestern, she called it mandatory fun. And so, as a coaching staff, we schedule a lot of things for our team to have more opportunities to spend time together. And they're going to enjoy doing them, but they're just obligated to be there, right? So, we take the team we took the team to the apple orchard before. We went mini golfing. When we were at Youngstown, we had a rain delay and we took them to the bowling alley. So just opportunities to be away from the game, but still together is really special and is important to us. And I think I focus more on that organic time that we get to spend together. And we do a lot of team meetings where I really focus on how are we doing? What do we need? Right? We have these things called an accountability partner. So every year at the beginning of the year, you get one person. Usually they're not in your class, they're not your roommate, they're not your position, someone that you might not know very well. And whenever we break off into groups to discuss something at practice, you'll be with your accountability partner. And so it's just an opportunity to get to know someone really well on the team that you might not really spend a lot of time with otherwise. And that's really been rewarding as a program, I think. It's something that I want to continue to do.
I'll say this too. I've noticed you guys are very active in the community there. I know you guys, near and dear to my heart, you guys are always doing the buddy walk there. I think it's in Cincinnati actually. And every time I see that, it just makes my heart smile. My daughter has Down syndrome, so I see that and it's just, you guys are doing a great job. That means a lot to me just as a fan of you. So keep that up. You're doing a great job in that community out there too. I think that's
totally. There's so much value in that. So much value in giving back. Our kids really love it, and that's another way that we are able to spend time together. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, when you mentioned miniature golf, made me think that's probably one of those things where you find out who your real competitors are. Because some of the kids will go, hey, this is a fun little activity. And then some of them are going to miss a shot and they're going to be mad and they're ready to break the club over their knee.
Oh yeah. There's full ranges and all of our kids are competitive, right? I don't want you on my team if you don't want to win. But there's some of them who, really know how to take it to the next level and really turn it on. And those kids, these tend to be partners with kids who also, want to compete in their mini golf. So it's fun. They're a good group.
Awesome. So just a few more questions for you, Morgan. We can't thank you enough for spending time with us today. I know you're super busy. The season's right around the corner. You got a lot more things to do than talk to a couple goofballs today. But we appreciate it. Just have there been any hurdles this year that you feel you've had to get over, big or small?
Gosh,
as your first year as a head coach?
Every year there's some type of adversity. It just might look different every year. I think being in college athletics right now is it's tumultuous, I think is the right word. And you kind of have to stay on your toes and we don't really know what's going to happen next. And it's going to require a lot of creativity, I think, right? And so that challenge, I think, is the biggest one that any college coach would tell you right now, regardless of sport or what level they're coaching at. But what I will say, what's really grounded me in it is every day, my job is to show up and to teach our kids something, right? My job is to mold them into being really great women who can really tackle the world in whatever pursuits that they have. And so when I stay really focused on that, I really realize that the outside world just doesn't matter as much as I think, right? And it is so easy to get pulled away from that thinking. But it's like a centering that I have to have before I show up to practice every day when I set aside whatever's at my computer. That's really served me well to keep that perspective.
Has the name, image, and likeness stuff, has that affected you guys yet?
So our kids all have the opportunity if they want. We have a platform called Open Doors where, that our kids can get connected to NIL opportunities. And some of our kids have pursued that and some of them haven't. I think at our level, at the mid-major, we experience it a lot less than the Power 5. But our kids can be as involved or not as involved as they want. And I think that's kind of what's special about NKU or just maybe other mid-majors too, is that I feel like we for a long time we're a little insulated from a lot of those stuff. And, now they can give lessons and they can coach clinics and they can advertise themselves, which is so great and absolutely necessary, but if they don't want to do that, they don't have to. There's not a pressure to. And I think that that's kind of nice for a lot of our kids they're really great students, right? And they really just enjoy spending time with their family and spending time with their friends. And they're kind of able to not feel the pressure of that.
That's good. So do you have any advice for a player who's thinking, I might want to get into the coaching, kind of like, you already had the experience, but let's say someone who hasn't been coaching, but says, I'm not quite ready to leave collegiate athletics yet. Any advice for someone like that?
Yeah. The first thing I'd say is go for it. Right. I have Maddie Lacer on my staff and she was an accounting major. And she had plenty of opportunities to go work in an accounting firm in different places. And, I'm proud of the way she's like, I'm going to go for this. I'm going to try it. And the advice that I have is that like, there's just not many things in your life that you do that can't be undone, right? There are a few, right? There are a few things that can't be undone. But I think so many college kids put so much pressure on what they're going to do when they graduate without realizing that what they do when they graduate isn't what they are going to do forever necessarily, right? And so if you think it's something that you could really love, I said, do it while you're young, right? Just go for it. Dive into it. And if it's not for you, it's really easy to find another opportunity. And I think the skills that you learn as a coach are really transferable and you have a great degree. So my advice is the first thing is to just go for it. And then the second thing is, and I think this takes time, is to really learn your voice. Like how do you communicate effectively? How do you command attention? I think that's just as important as you understanding the X's and O's and like what you're saying, right? And I think that takes time and it's okay. I'm so thankful. Like I said, I had my dad to help me kind of figure that out, right? But allow that process to take time, but you got to have the courage to kind of do it and to go for it. And so say go for it and just be courageous in it. I guess that's my biggest advice.
Awesome. Ken, any more questions for Morgan or I'm good? You've covered a lot today. Again, can't thank you enough for joining us today. It's just means a lot to me. And this is I'm glad that you take some time out of your time for us. So appreciate it.
Well, I'm so grateful that I got to be a part of it. I love sharing and talking with people and just talking the game. And it's what makes the softball community so special. Thank you so much for today. I can't thank you enough for what you did. If you need anything from us, let Ken or I know.
Yeah. All righty. Well, Morgan, thank you so much for joining us today on From the Coach's Mouth. We always appreciate hearing from all the different coaches around. We wish you and the Norse good luck this year. Hopefully you'll bring home another championship and maybe keep going up even a little bit higher.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so happy I got to do this for you guys. I wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate that.
Hope I get to run into you at some more camps, hopefully this summer or something, so we can catch up.
Awesome. Thank you again, Ken. It was nice to meet you.
Awesome.
Thanks, you too, Morgan. And good luck, and hope it's a great season.
Thank you, guys. Have a good rest of your day.
All right, you too.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye, Morgan. You too. Thank you again.